nice to finally meet you. Can't wait to tell you about the things I've been through. 18 years, I was walking by myself. Ain't no fucking way that could be good for my health. Skeletons go deep. Been living in my closet. Fear of the unknown cause a nigga to be modest. I'm just being honest. It's hard to face the facts that I've been living all this time, not knowing what it mean to be black. Grew up, ain't have no father, just my mother. Her and Graham's the only ones at supper. So many fucking questions, things to discover. Why these white kids always questioning my color? Start to make me wonder, who the hell am I? Why they got me feeling like my brown skin is my demise? You can see it in my eyes, confusion run deep. Start to lose trust, can't tell a wolf from a sheep. Inside the tears leak, can't show it on the surface. Was just a little kid trying to understand his purpose. Tears turned to rage, on fear I turned the page. Smoked my first L, now I'm coping with the haze. Why the value of my life under appraise? Just cause my skin dark. Why the 5 o'clock news only show niggas in chalk? Why I can't just be myself? Always gotta play the part like, boy, you black, you ain't supposed to be smart. Nigga, dead black man, it's nice to finally meet you. Can't wait to tell you about the things I've been through. 18 years, I was walking by myself. Ain't no fucking way that could be good for my health. Skeletons go deep. Been living in my closet. Fear of the unknown cause a nigga to be modest. I'm just being honest. It's hard to face the facts that I've been living all this time, not knowing what it mean to be black. Oh, I look beautiful. Black and beautiful. Smile in my face, but are you happy for me?
Really? Are you happy for me? Wait, one more time, just be like Brian Carney real loud.
Brian Carney is the GOAT of the O. Soon to be Mo. 716. Griselda, we coming for you.
How are you feeling?
I feel good. I'm anxious, excited. We are 3 episodes in at this point, and the feedback has been absolutely amazing. So we have 4 very powerful episodes before mine left. So I'm just excited to do this and continue to start conversation and see, where this leads. We put this together in a few short weeks, and it's already turned out amazing. I didn't really know what to expect. I had an idea, and a lot of times it's the visions don't always turn out the way that you see them in your head. But I can truly say that this one thus far has went almost exactly as I saw it in my head, which is a testament to you, Whakim, and Nick for all the hard work, but just the execution of bringing a vision to life. I've never brought a vision to life like this, and it's dope.
I seriously prayed before I edited everyone, like, God, look, you gotta take over. You gotta do this because there's so much riding on this that people don't understand. Like, when you tie your name to something that's gonna represent a people, our people, I was like, God, there's no way we can fail like this. Yeah. You know what I mean? And what a lot of people don't understand too, this is just like you said, like we literally came up with this in a few weeks.
Yeah, we came up with it in one day, and I started going through the people who I thought, would be good for this series, people who had, influence, a strong reach in the community, obviously black, but, we have teachers, we have a pastor, we have business owners, everybody was successful, everybody speaks well, everybody fit exactly what we were looking to do. We didn't want to push one narrative, so I thought we did a great job curating, who we had interviewed, and it's literally turned out damn near perfect.
Listen, when you have people who can't necessarily relate, but can humble themselves enough to have that conversation with themselves and the viewer and say, wow, have I been that antagonist?
Yeah, one of my closest friends, he's in the military. He's down in Alabama now. Texted me the other day and was like, I can't believe I was that naive. You know, have I been? He literally used the word antagonist. Have I been the antagonist this entire time? And just his text, like I know that I've never experienced racism from him. Maybe he unintentionally did it elsewhere, but I know he's not a racist. But to see that message and to read it coming from him was like my jaw dropped. And it was like, wow, like it really put things into perspective. And like I've had people reaching out to me who I know, who I don't know. I had a lady come up to me outside of the bar the other day who I've never met in my life. I still have no idea who it was, but she just came up to me and was like, yo, I just want you to know the Docuseries is amazing, keep going. And I was like, wow, like that was after episode 1. We still got 5 more to go. So it's crazy the impact that it's already having and the reach, and you know, I don't know where it's gonna go, but it seemed like it's gonna go somewhere.
We knew after, I personally knew after we did what? Who was the third one?
Jason.
We interviewed Jason third, right?
Oh, that was the one. Like I knew he was on something.
And every interview's fire, don't get me wrong.
No,
but
absolutely.
after we interviewed Jason, just because like I said, like that, Jason was a part of the expansion, not the original.
Well, JR and Jesse, I knew what I was getting. I'm extremely close to them. They were the first 2 black influences in my life. So Jason, I've known, he's been cutting my hair since I was like 8 years old, 10 years old, whatever it was. He was one of the first people that I asked once we decided we want to expand this. And I had thought, you know, of Kenny, and I didn't even know Michelle and Vernon. Like I knew who they were, but we'd never really had a conversation. Ty Hall, like we've had conversation before, but I really don't know him either. But when Jason came and did his interview and the way he did it and how powerful it was, like I just remember the feeling afterwards, like, whoa, we can't stop here.
and that is what's so crazy. And then you had Vernon, who shed tears.
And Vernon wasn't even, like we were supposed to do Michelle, and then Vernon came to the interview and spoke, and we were like, hey, by the way, you want to do an interview? like absolutely.
And then to like I said, and then to get him to shed tears, be so overcome with emotion. Yeah. You know, who literally, this man literally just said, you know, like growing up, he never cried.
He counted on his one hand how many times he cried, and he cried during one of these interviews. And it's so amazing to see, like, even Jason, like we've gotten a lot closer since I've grown up and I came back to Olean. I moved away for 4 or 5 years, whatever it was. But even to see him, we talk damn near every day now. A lot of it is about this, but it's like people were so excited to be a part of this that it was very humbling. And then, you know, on top of that, it put things into perspective of how powerful that this actually is, because they also understood what this would do to a community, especially this one, which is predominantly white. You know, a lot of people in this interview are family. And that's really how it is. I'm one of the few black people around here who aren't related. But every single one of them, there was no backlash, no, I don't know about it. It was, no, absolutely, I'd be honored. It's like, wow, like we really must be on something.
And it's
just invited so much conversation. And I think unless you ask somebody, you don't get that.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, I had somebody talk to me about Jesse's interview, and they're like, wow, I didn't know Jesse was like that, and I didn't know he was that intellectual, and da-da-da-da-da. And it was like, and it was a white person, and, you know, my response was, well, not only that, but is he just going to come up and start having this conversation with you? Like, why would he do that? He doesn't know you like that. You don't have a relationship like that. So Jesse and I have these conversations because we're extremely close. JR and I have these conversations because we're extremely close. A lot of people look at Jesse and JR and only get to see one side of them, especially JR. He's a very love-or-hate person, but a lot of people don't have the luxury or the opportunity to see the other side of JR. JR is one of the smartest people that I know, literally, seriously. So for people to get to see that out of them too is amazing, and it's opening people's eyes, and it's just truly dope. For real. I think I have 3, maybe 4 music videos out. 3. 2 long. Oh, no, 4. 4 music videos out. That's the only real visual content that I have aside from those performance videos, which were, I mean, those take 10 minutes to film. So like, to do something like this powerful, this impactful, but to have it looks like should be on Netflix, and to have it come out so amazing, it's the confirmation that we've been talking about, that this is what we're supposed to be doing. Like, this is the first time in my life where I'm like, wow, I feel like I'm supposed to be doing this. And yeah, it's cool to be here. It really is.
It's crazy, and the reason why we feel like that is because this is what we're supposed to be doing.
That's why I think I woke up with my feelings the other day when I was saying, oh, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned it, but good job with this series, because it's meaningful, it's engaging, and yeah, I'm just proud of you. It's so good together. Finally.
Nah, for real. And it's cool that it's completely organically coming out of Olean. Even though Whakim's not from Olean, he might as well be at this point. Like people know Whakim, and Whakim don't even know them. He's been here for 3 months.
We did without someone who doesn't know this place.
No, it worked out perfect.
Have his first experience here be what it was, and you know what I mean? Like, he just didn't know.
No.
So you and we're gonna dance and maybe beat around the bush a little bit and stuff like that. He just gets right.
Yeah.
You know, and but see, a lot of that is accredited to I want to say the negative experiences I've had in Buffalo with people of color and people of not.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And larger, one of the things I love about Olean is how gentle I feel like a lot of the people are. And I don't mean gentle as a weakness. I mean gentle just as a who they represent themselves as and who they.
Oh, we've spoke about this on multiple occasions, like Olean, like it or love it. We spoke about this today. Like it or love it, like the one thing, I've lived in Pittsburgh, I've lived in Buffalo, I've lived in Los Angeles, I've lived in Houston, I've lived all over the entire country. I've traveled everywhere. The people in Olean, I've never met people like this before. And that's why, like, take Olean for what it is. You're not going to get to go out and go to major sports games or this, that, and the third. But, we make the best of it. And I truly have some of the, in my opinion, the dopest friends of anywhere. Like, I have really close friends in other places, but they're few and far between. You have to sift through a lot of bullshit to get to those real people. Olean, to me, at least in my circle, is filled with nothing but realness. And you don't get to find that a lot. You really don't. And I've had conversations with people from other places being like, yo, I'm not that close with my friends here. Like, I remember being in college and I used to travel to go see my friends all the time. And we would roll deep. We'd have 4 or 5 people going to see our friends at college, whether it was Brockport, Fredonia, UB, wherever. And all of their roommates would just be like, yo, my friends have literally never came to see me.
Yo, when we went to Juju's going away party, and I was like, yo,
half the place was Olean. And he's never even lived here.
Y'all motherfuckers travel for each other.
Nah, real shit. Like, Olean's like a cult, for real.
No, for real.
Like, they shut down a good one. But we won the state championship when I was a sophomore in 2008, and they literally shut down the city, had a parade for a high school basketball team.
Yeah, they would never do that in Buffalo.
That's what I'm saying.
And see, but the perks of that is, though, because it's so small,
right.
When you only have 12,000 people versus 300,000.
Nah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean that in a bad way, though.
No, absolutely.
And I don't, the problem is, though, with that, like, a larger city should be able to celebrate the small people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
Even if it's only a handful of people that are doing something great, a whole city should want to shut down to celebrate that.
Treat the CEO the same way you treat the janitor. And I think that may be a small town mentality, but I think that's also like why I've gotten to where I am, because this place has taught me that work ethic. You know what I'm saying? To be able to go other places. Like, I still am very introverted, but like leaving here, yeah, you'd be amazed. Leaving here was like a culture shock for me. I'm used to knowing everybody thinking I'm the man, everybody, like, everywhere I go here, it's Carney, was good. I'm dapping up the whole bar everywhere. I go somewhere else and I'm just another nigga.
Literally.
You know what I mean? Nobody knows my past. Nobody knows that I only grew up with white people. Nobody knows anything about me other than I'm 6'3", I'm black, and I have dreads.
Which makes you a nigga.
Right.
Not even black.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll talk plenty about it.
That makes you a nigga.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. To be here now, the fact that you trusted me with this vision, is huge for me.
It's crazy because I've had one other situation where I've met a complete stranger and bonded like we did immediately. It's my boy Christian from Pittsburgh. He's a real estate agent. Back when I was doing mortgages, I was cold calling people, just trying to get business cultivated. And I cold called them and, you know, gave them my little pitch and whatever. And we ended up going to Tilted Kilt. And the second we met, it was like I'd known him forever. And he's still one of my best friends to this day. He just sold my house in Pittsburgh. We communicate often. And like that same energy was the same energy I got from you. And it's just one of those things where like I'm a big believer in trust your gut. And my gut was just telling me that he's here for a reason. So, you know, it's
Likewise.
sounds like I was right.
Yeah, seriously.
My gut hasn't failed me yet.
Yo, listen. So my mom was like, "Are you ever coming home? Like, what are you doing there?" Like, I was like, "Mom, I don't."
Well, it's funny because I remember when I came up to Buffalo to meet Supreme, and y'all were shooting that video, I think, and then we went to Applebee's after, and like the look on your face was night and day from the last time that I'd seen you when you were here, and you're like, "Bro, I don't want to be here. Like, should I feel bad that I want to be in Olean?" And here you are. Well, and it's funny because Jesse's, sorry if I butcher this, Jesse, but I believe he's 44. JR is 41. I'm 30, you know, so it's like some of my closest friends are way older than me. And I also have, now it's funny because I remember JR's kids, T and Trell, they were my ball boys when I was a sophomore in high school, winning the state championship. I don't even know how old they were. They're 21 and 22 now. That was in 2008, so 14 years ago. So
Now you're the big homie.
yeah, but it's funny because now I'm close as shit to them. You know, so everything's like really came full circle. So it's just, it's cool. And the funny thing is, me and JR had talked about this forever ago. You know, when we first got close, like one day you're gonna be me to T and Trell, and here I am.
That's so crazy. That's so crazy. And you know, it never really feels like work. It always feels like a family.
No, that's what I was just gonna say, is that like we have one big family. And last night, like me, you, Nick, John, all performing out there, acting foolish with nobody else there, nobody watching. We weren't on live. We recorded that and posted it on live.
I'm cutting that. They don't even know the secret. They don't even know the secret.
We like.
What phone is he using?
That phone looks really clear, man.
UFO shit is
But we were having so much fun, and it really felt like a family. You know, I feel like we've really created a family, and it's cool. And we was talking about it earlier, like nobody's competing against each other. Everybody's just here for one purpose. Like we really want to strive for more and make something out of this small town. Like I think that, and it's cool that everybody in the room loves Olean, because there's a lot of people from here that don't, and be like, you ain't doing shit from Olean. You gotta fucking leave to do anything. Like, nah, fuck that. We here.
Fuck that.
We made
Yeah, we'll make the most.
time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We'll make the most out of any situation. And everybody that I've ever brought
a
here.
mouse than the tail of a fucking lion.
Amen. Amen. And I literally, everybody I've ever brought here is like, damn, like, y'all are different. Y'all have a great time, like, with nothing. That says a lot. I've been in prestigious studios in Atlanta, Los Angeles. I wasn't rapping when I was in Houston, but Pittsburgh, the literally most prestigious studio in Pittsburgh, even I think Atlanta. And last week was the first week I worked at the studio predominantly, like worked, whether I was working on music or raising capital for Dana or whatever the case was, like, it's like, man, I fucking love being here. Like, this is crazy.
You can't help but be in the creative zone.
But not only that, we're all dogs. Like, I don't know a lot of people that work harder than you or myself. And like to have that energy, like, and that's what I think that I really love being around the most, is that like when I'm feeling down or I'm feeling lazy, like if I'm by myself, my home office is in my bedroom, bro. I'll shut the camera off and go lay down straight up. I've done it. I did it yesterday.
Come on.
You know, real shit. But then when I'm at the studio and I see Nick or you and y'all grinding, and have been up for 20 hours, and I'm like, well, shit, I'm a little bitch. I've only been working for 4. You know what I'm saying? Like, shut your ass up.
You know what's crazy? I grew up with the mentality, right? My mom used to hate, like, and shout out to my mama, you know, she raised a king. My mom used to always, like kind of, like, she tried to install this principle that, like, if you were sleeping past noon, you were lazy. And, you know, in the military, it's kind of the same way, unless you're on night shift. But what a lot of times, what this being here has changed that for me, right? Like, if I sleep till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you better believe it's because I was probably up till 6 o'clock in the fucking morning working.
Exactly. For sure.
If I sleep till 2 p.m., it's because I was up till 4 o'clock in the morning.
You don't have a shift.
We don't have, like, and that's what people don't understand.
It hits.
Listen, and I feel like me, you, and Nick, the 3 people in this room right now, we're the worst social media people ever.
Yeah.
None of us post. Like, I might lip sync the song on Snapchat, you know what I'm saying, once or twice a day. But for the most part, I don't share my life. And I've had so many people ask me since I've taken my hiatus from Instagram. I haven't posted on Instagram or even posted a story on Instagram since December. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times people will be like, yo, people really ask me, like, yo, do you still do camera work? I ain't really been seeing you post. Like, I ain't really seen you working. Like, people assume because they don't see you working. I've even had to explain this to my own family. Just because you don't see you working, don't believe I'm not grinding.
Go ghost till you pull up in a Wraith.
Like, yo, like, and the crazy thing is, I said this on my Snapchat story yesterday. The Bible says that God said, ask and you shall receive. I asked God to be busy. I asked God for work that nourished my soul, that made me feel like I was doing something with purpose. I'm tired of doing the strip club shit. I'm tired of doing the ratchet music videos with, I'm just filming and not creating.
Fulfillment, something with fulfillment.
Exactly, fulfillment, exactly.
But yeah, just filming.
And I asked God, I said, God, I want to be busy, but not just busy just because I'm working. I want to do something productive. Meaningful, fulfillment. And now I'm tired. I'm exhausted.
Bruh, this is the most overwhelmed I've felt in my life.
But
it's an amazing feeling.
And to encapsulate that into like a couple words, this is the best I've ever felt in my life.
Yeah, I wake up every day like, God damn, I got a lot of shit to do. But I see y'all and I'm like, all right, we're getting to it.
And that's the trickle down effect. That's the ecosystem. Because we all grind. Because we all have days where we come in lazy, like, I don't really want to do shit.
But we had to build that together.
100%.
And that's what I keep trying to say. Like, look at how much it has changed the face of everything in the past.
No, absolutely.
I mean, the real.
But it's the only way that this is possible is if everyone carries their weight.
100%.
And this situation is the first time that I've been in where everyone carries their weight.
Listen, everyone has.
I feel like everyone carries their weight and then some.
Yeah.
That's why it's so much more productive.
No, 100%.
We have our team. We are the fucking Avengers.
Yeah, we can get
And Marvel fight me.
a month's worth of work done in a week.
Easily.
Like real shit.
Easily. What'd you say?
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Oh, exactly. Listen, because yo, we will. I'm a hashtag or not hashtag. Insert photo of me, literally me sleeping on the floor and you sleeping on the couch.
Yeah.
That fucking shit is the epitome of what we do when I say we grind.
Yeah, we were up from 4 until midnight that entire week.
Let's talk about that. Like,
talk about
who else you know getting up at 4 a.m. to go to the gym, put in a full hour to almost 2 hours sometimes in the fucking gym, working out, going hard. We ain't doing no little bitch workout. We're going hard and then going to put another 18 hours in the fucking studio.
And every time you guys do the day sleep shit, I'm in there doing the shit that
I will say, exactly.
And when you wake up, it's like, sorry, man, can I show you this?
Yo, because all we do is grind, and we are a collective of young, talented creatives that grind.
And that's why, like I said to you before, I think we started, actually, I don't know if film was rolling or not, but this feels like the calm before the storm. And I think that's why we got the champagne, because I truly feel like we celebrating something, but like this feels like something special. And I've been in a room before where I felt this in mortgages, you know, where I went against the grain and took a chance and it worked out. But then, you know, fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, it wasn't for me. And I found that out and I felt that. But this is the first time since where I'm like, yo, we really onto something. And a lot of it has to do with the work ethic. Like, you could be as talented as you want. What's the cliche saying? Talent, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And it's very cliche, but it's one of the truest statements that I've ever heard of in my life. Everybody here is talented, but the work ethic matches, if not exceeds, the talent. You know, and that's where greatness comes, is when you have talent and you match that with work ethic. And we still have a lot of shit to prove, a lot of things to do.
Learn to get better and progress,
but
of course.
With that work ethic, there's nothing that you can't learn. There's nothing that you can't accomplish. So it's like, man, like, shit. If we continue on this pace for a while, a lot of people gonna be watching this interview in 5 years.
One of my favorite things that God has, I feel like I've had with God, is that God literally said to me, one of the worst things in life to be is to have desire and not be capable. Mm-hmm. When God, and I've said this to you a bunch of times.
Many times.
When God said this to me last year, I said, what do you mean? Like, and then as he started to show it to me, I started having all these desires. I didn't want to do certain things. I didn't want to go certain places. I didn't want to, but I felt myself doing it because I need money. I gotta take care of bills. I gotta take care of kids. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. And at the same time, I'm trying to brand myself, create my own business. We are so fucking capable now.
Oh man.
Bro,
there's no excuse.
We are pulling up with over $100,000 worth of equipment.
Yeah,
we have a $200,000, $300,000 fucking studio, bro.
I got no excuse.
We have, and that's what, and I think that's why we all internally work so hard. Yeah. Nick built an amazing studio that we all get to reap the benefits of. Mm-hmm. We have all this camera equipment. We are so capable and we are so talented. As long as we stay connected and keep that family bond, bro, who gonna check us? I'm poking my chest out at everybody. Who's gonna check us?
Check them back. That's all.
Nah, the sky is the limit. It really is, and I haven't felt this way in a while.
Listen,
it feels motherfucking good.
Yo, and that's why we grind what we do. Because I was just saying this to my little sister. Yo, I said, Maya, we on the verge of greatness, and she said, wow, I believe you so much. It's not even funny. Like getting choked up. She was like, wow, I can tell. Yeah. I can see it in your face. I can see it in the way you speak. I said, yo, because you don't even get to see what I see every day. The people I'm around, the talent that's in the room, the work ethic.
Hey, you just want it.
Yo, so bad. So bad it's not even funny, man. It's not even funny. But let's really get into these questions because we already an hour in. Damn! It's crazy.
Unusual, but it's cool.
It's cool. We knew Carney's interview was gonna be one of the long ones. It's just, man, I'm just so incredibly grateful. Like, y'all don't understand, man. Like when I quit my job, when I dropped out of school, when I really said, God, I'm doing this, like, man, that was hard for me. It was hard.
I've been there.
My whole family was like, nigga, you crazy. My parents was like, nigga, you crazy.
Been there.
My dad, my stepfather had a conversation with me, was like, nigga, it's time to quit, go get a real job. And I was pissed. Mm-hmm. I was furious. And a part of me was like, nigga, maybe he right. Then my equipment got stolen. Oh my God. Let's talk about that. You know what I'm saying?
Does, bro.
Yo, like I was down bad before I met you, bro. Like I was so broken. I was really on the verge of dropping this shit.
But it was your test.
It was. And God literally said to me, are you gonna keep going?
Do you trust me?
Are you gonna keep going? And I'm so glad I did, bro.
Here we are.
Here we are, bro.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie, like I've been afraid of myself for the past 3 years.
Come
to
on.
have someone come along like that can motivate.
Come on, for a team. A team that's not just trying to use you. A team that wants to elevate you. That wants everybody
that
to
has
succeed.
genuine personal investment in your best interests.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Literally.
No, 100%.
That is something I've never had. I've had plenty of people like, oh, I see you did let's work together. I'm like, all right, cool. I have a shoot this day, pull up. All right, bet.
Yeah, but what about when you ain't doing shit? Feel me?
Listen, when my camera got stolen, when my equipment got stolen, and I had all these gigs lined up for the beginning of the year, bro. Probably about $6,000-$7,000 worth of gigs. I kid you not. Every person I reached out to, not a single person helped. Not a single person. I reached out to about 10 people that I knew. I mean, people I knew with shitty cameras. Yeah. Like shit that wasn't even on my level, bro. I'm like, I just need something, and I'll just make sure I got great lighting to do whatever I gotta do.
I don't even know what that feels like.
No, listen, bro. But that's why it was so easy.
I mean, from their end, not yours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like people who I've fucking worked with and shot shit for them and didn't ask for a single lick of credit. You ain't gotta, nah, bro. This your project. I don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why we are here, because I think every one of us in this room have been cheated, have been slighted, have been unappreciated, have been treated like shit, have been used greatly, have been called selfish, have been called every fucking name in the book because you're pursuing something that doesn't necessarily pay at this present moment in time.
Mm-hmm.
People say you're wasting your time. People say you're never gonna make it. You're never gonna do it. And every single one of us, me, you, and Nick, right now, I know 110% have all felt that.
Oh man,
So many times. So many times. And it's crazy to think that anybody would ever call you or Nick selfish is beyond me. I can't fathom that. I can't understand that. Listen, y'all took a stranger and we didn't have to. I don't know how many times Nick's walked into the studio and I'm in there fucking snoring.
Carney, you gotta get this guy out of here. He sounds like a fucking foghorn,
he
man.
be playing the tuba.
He sounds like a fucking tuba.
Yo, real for real, man. Like, and that alone, bro. Like I said to both of you guys, man. I know people who've known me my entire life and never trusted me, never gave me the time, or never believed in me the way you both have. And I'm saying this on camera, even though I'm not being filmed. I thank you both.
Well,
Likewise.
and
I thank you.
I thank you too, man. I know that we provided for you, but you also
Man,
provided for
I
us.
fucking love y'all.
Seriously.
For real, seriously.
Like this team would be.
Love both of y'all. With the big three. The new big three. I said it here first.
I'm a little drunk.
Come here, guys.
Watch it, man. We got it. I'll just give you the old fast fist bump.
Hey man, I love you.
Hey, you know what is weird though? And only I'm not a hugger. I'm a fucking hugger. I hug everybody.
I know, I have to hug you all the time. I'm like, come on, dog. Can't we just slap up?
No! Hug me, nigga. I was raised affectionately.
I'm begging you for a handshake.
My mother, father, and
Like, can't we just
stepfather.
get a dope handshake or something?
We do need one of those.
I know we do.
My mother, father, and stepfather gave me hugs and kisses until I was, well, my mom still kissed me, but I got hugs and kisses until I was like, the same size as them niggas, and then they, then it was just hugs. So I hug everybody because I love y'all boys, for real. Anyways, now that's done and over with. Ryan. Introduce yourself.
Ryan Carney, artist named Carney from Olean, New York. I'm 30 years old.
Which is so crazy to me. When I first met you, and I was like, nigga, you 30? Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's a lot of black people here who do not look their age.
They don't crack.
Yo, Jason is 50, for the people who don't know that.
That's wild.
That's insane. That motherfucker don't look like he's
Jesse
35.
looks like, if Jesse didn't have gray hair, he still looked like he could suit up in an NFL game.
100%. 100%.
He looks like a straight up athlete.
Look, 100%. Man,
Like he hasn't aged in 12 years, I'd say.
He hasn't aged since I met him.
Jason and Jesse are fams, 100%. No, there's no way to debate it.
I pray, God, please allow me to age like they do.
Man, there's so much I want to ask you. And there's so much that people need to see of you.
I'm here for it.
How does it feel to be you? Knowing that, like, in this town, you are who you are. Like you said, when you walk into a bar, as a cameraman, like, it's my job to really capture vision, right? When I film you, when I film the people that surround you, bro, you are
Magnetic.
literally, you took the words out of my mouth, like, so magnetic. And I can understand why people hate you. I can understand why people love you. I can understand why people want to be you. Because I feel like I've never met somebody that in my own life that I was like, yo, I need to just be around this guy. Like, I don't know why, but like, I just need to be around this guy. And I'm not saying that to be funny. I'm saying that because it's true. This is who you are as a person. And yet you still maintain one of the most humble attitudes possible. So, with that being said, what does it feel like to be you?
I don't really think about it often. Like, the only time I really think about it is when somebody bring it up. Like, I've had plenty of people come up to me and like be like, "You're standoffish, you're selfish, da da da." Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I think that I had a lot of anxiety as a child. You know, I've been blessed with a lot of talents, without a doubt. But like, I never try and act and I never feel as though I'm bigger than anybody. You know, when I said earlier, you treat the CEO the same way that you treat the janitor. Like, that's really how I portray my life. That's how I live. Like, I don't care how much money I've made. I don't care if I have accolades. I've been down in the dumps. I've been in the trenches. One of the most depressed moments or times of my life was when I was making the most money, you know? So to me, it's just like, I value happiness. So I don't like, I hang out with broke people. I hang out with rich people. You know, I don't think about how others think of me. You know, it's just something where like, I just like to stay present and live in the moment. And, you know, if you think great of me, great. If you think like I'm an asshole, well, great. I really don't care. If you want to have a conversation, we can have a conversation. And that's just kind of how I, you know, carry myself. Like, I'm not better than nobody, you know? So that's just how I live.
You know, being around for this short amount of time, I've seen how people receive you, you know, and not everyone gets treated the same way. I will say that this is a very loving community. As far as
Absolutely. I've
seen, a very accepting community. You know, this community is so loving of you. There's literally no smoke in here. That is the devil!
Hey man, he can't stop us.
Oh, I'm really sorry. Nick vaping, bro. Oh my god.
I don't want to make no noise. Wow.
They can't hold us.
They work.
They weren't.
Sorry about that.
Beep!
I walk out the hall and I'm going to fucking drag to go on.
You know, I was so looking forward to your interview. I'm also the most nervous about yours because I don't want to be too personal, but I feel like it's so important that people really get to see the side of you.
They do, because I'm the first to admit I'm introverted, and unless you ask, I'm not gonna speak on it. You know, I have my own scars. You know, you're one of the people who I talk to about anything. I can count on my hand the people who I have deep conversations with, at least about my own personal stuff. And it's not that, you know, I wouldn't share it, but like I said, if you don't ask about it, I don't really care to talk about it, because I like good energy and stuff like that. Like, it's not that it's bad, it's healthy to let that stuff out. But at the same time, like, I don't know, if I don't really know you like that, even if I do you, I just don't really care to talk about it.
Yeah, and you know, and I think that's that's why we connected in Huntsville the way we did, was because I was going through little stripes and I was like, man, I fucking vibe with Carney, man. Everybody here, like, this shit is annoying me, and I felt like I needed someone to talk to right then and there. And once I opened up, the way you received me and everything, man, the rest is history. One of the things I've always wanted to ask you, man, like, talk kind of about like your experiences growing up without a dad. Like, do you know your dad?
Nah, I never met him.
You have never met your father?
He doesn't, well, I shouldn't say he doesn't know I exist, because I did reach out to him once on Facebook and he read the message. This was when I was 20-something. But nah, I've never met him. My mom was the most amazing mom ever. She made a decision where...
Shout out Mama Carney.
Yeah.
I also love the fact that you got her last name in IS.
Yeah, I had to be a Carney. I am a Carney through and through. But he didn't know about me. She decided not to tell him for whatever reason. I don't know that we've ever had that conversation. I don't really care, because she loves me unconditionally and it's mutual. So, you know, everything happens for a reason. But like, growing up without a dad, like, I didn't even really realize the magnitude in other people's lives that it could have until later in life. Really, when I like first dove into being black and what that meant. But like growing up, you know, I would ask her questions from time to time, but like I have such a loving family, even though it's small. Like I had my uncles, I had my grandma, my grandma kind of played the dad role. Like she was the disciplinary between her and my mom. And like my mom was at a point, she was in college, I think she was 22 when she had me. And she was questioning whether or not she should keep me. And my grandfather at the time, and she told me this story, was like, I don't care what you do, but he's coming with me. And, you know, that's just how, like, it's always been so much love that, like, I never, until, like I said, I got older and, like, started really getting curious about being Black, I never really thought about it. Like, obviously, in hindsight, there's a lot that I think I may have missed out on as far as, like, teachings wise and being able to, like, ask the questions that were in my head. And especially being a mixed kid, like, you know, it would be one thing if I was fully white, you know, but even like the male figures in my life were like, my Uncle John Mark was a huge figure in my life. My Uncle Vinny was a huge figure in my life while I was growing up and very young. My grandfather before he passed. But like, they don't know nothing about being Black. And I don't even know what being Black is at that point, you know? So like not having a father growing up, like at first didn't faze me. Like I didn't give a shit. I just want to be happy. I just want to go outside and play ball and do whatever. But even later in life, like I have questions about it and everything, but the love that I've received from my family allowed me to not look at that as a burden on my life.
I love you.
Love you too.
You know, one of the things I personally struggle with was, you know, like my biological father was always, I feel like I truly believe he did the best he could. And I believed if he was, you know, maybe more well off or maybe grew up in a tad bit better environment than he grew up in, you know, he would have been the father I think he wanted to. But my father was the one who taught me how to ride a bike. My father was the one who taught me how to throw a football, how to throw a spiral. You know, he taught me. I remember him teaching me how to write. So many things, and sometimes as someone who had a dad and who grew up with negative experiences of having a father before my stepfather came into my life, it's a blessing and a curse. The curse is you can't understand why you do some of the things you may not like about yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because when you recognize who your mom is, you're like, okay, well, I know this is what I got from my mom. Well, then that means that the rest of the shit is I got from him. And I'm sure you're a talented man, you can deduce that on your own. The blessing and that I may feel, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, of not knowing your father is you don't necessarily see the wrongs that they do as human beings. And I'm not judging them for it. I feel like because I saw my father do so many wrong things, right? And there was a point in my life where I hated him so much, I refused to be like him, that I became him.
Yeah, it's conflicting. J. Cole says something like, I'm scared that you ain't shit and you rubbed off on me.
Scared you ain't shit and you rubbed off on me.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Powerful. That is true.
No, I think you're completely right. Like I said, like I didn't really think about it, but I didn't see it, and like I was a mama's boy from day one. So like to think of like the idea of having a father treat my mother bad, like I don't know who I'd be today, because I truly love my mom unconditionally, and like she had a boyfriend at one point, and like even when they first started dating, I was like, I'm not so sure about this, Mom. Like, you mine? Like, oh, I don't know this dude. You know what I'm saying? I just got super protective because of how much I cared about her. So, you know, and like you had a situation where, you know, you had some negative experiences, and, you know, I didn't have any. So, you know, I can't imagine going through that. And I'm glad I haven't had to. You know, I've obviously had to go through things with not having a father, but like I truly couldn't imagine somebody treating my mother bad. There was a time when my mom had a stroke, and you know it's hard now that I'm older, I don't know that I'll ever understand his perspective, because they were like talking about marriage and everything. But one thing that I didn't respect about it was he like went ghost. He didn't have the balls as a man to go to her and tell her that he couldn't be with her. And she's going through the toughest time of her life that 99% of people don't even have to experience. So it's like, I lost all respect for that dude. You know what I'm saying? And it was sad and it was heartbreaking to see my mother have to not only go through that, but the man that she loved and wanted to marry turned his back on her. You know, so it was like he wasn't my dad, but that was probably the closest thing to seeing like a negative experience. Like, he wasn't a father figure to me. I was, I think, 15 or 16 when they started dating or whatever. But like, to see somebody do that to somebody in that situation is
For a second, wait, let's just talk about how wonderful mom is.
She's the most amazing. Like,
exactly.
For her to go through a stroke and like, she was a completely normal person. She was a college basketball coach. Like, she played college basketball. She's, you know, healthy, so on and so forth, could work out, to having a stroke and essentially like losing her left side of her body and being basically paralyzed. And to see the joy that she brings to her face every day is like, it's humbling, because I go through bad days and then I'll lay in bed at night and be like,
Mom
nigga, grow up.
Smile on her face.
Every day. And
every day she got a smile on her face.
And it's just like, you know, you gotta grow up, like, get over yourself. I tell myself that constantly, like, get the fuck over yourself. Real shit.
You know, it's funny you brought that up. One of the things I wanted to ask you, I was like, one of the things I wanted to ask you was, as someone who's recently, you know, come into your life, you have been one of the biggest influences and positive and encouragements that I feel like I've had personally in a long time. What drives you to be that way? Like, because let's be real, a lot of times, like today, for example, listen, my alarm was going off right next to my head. I did not hear it. And you came downstairs and woke me up, clapping and dancing like you do. Come on, nigga, let's get to the gym. Let's get this. Mm-hmm. When you lay down at night, you know, besides mom or even including mom, what really gives you that like, yo, let's go get this shit?
I don't have the energy to be negative. Like, I really don't. Like, negative energy is like, you know, I've been mad at people. I've tripped over fucking ex-girls. Like, I've done it all, and it's like, that energy does nothing for you. I read a book called Miracle Morning, and the whole idea of it was like, think about when you're a kid, like you're a little kid, 5, 6, 7 years old, whatever the case may be, and it's on Christmas Eve. And it doesn't matter if you went to bed at 1 a.m. and had to get up at 5 to open your presents. You're gonna wake up with the utmost energy and excitement. So that taught me to like change my perspective on things and like look at like, yo, it's not, damn, I gotta get up tomorrow. It's, yo, I get to go to the gym tomorrow. There's a lot of people that don't have the luxury of going to the gym. And I think that honestly, my mom probably did change my perspective a lot, because I had to watch her go from being able to live a normal everyday life to now have to love and enjoy a life that she's not used to. And another person like that is Julio Fuentes. He went from being a stud college athlete to boom, you're paralyzed, still in a wheelchair. And to see him fight and be able to walk however many years later is just like, who the fuck am I to complain? My life is motherfucking good, like real shit.
Say it one more time, just one more time.
Like real shit, like who the fuck am I to complain? Like what do I have to complain about? Like sure, I have bad days and things happen and people fuck me over, but at the end of the day, like I'm good. My family's good. I could take care of my family. Like I couldn't imagine being in those shoes and having to say, all right, this life that I was just living and loved is gone. There is nothing I can do about it. Nothing at all. I have to enjoy this life. What the fuck do I have to complain about? Nothing. It's it's not that serious. So like, to me, it's just like, why be upset? Why be mad? Like, I don't know. Thankfully, I don't have any disorders that make me fucking angry all the time, but it's just like, it's not that serious. Like, you gonna wake up tomorrow. Whenever I do get to that point, I just go to sleep because I know I'm gonna wake up with a new mindset. Be like, everything's gonna be all right.
I've seen you go to sleep some days and be like, I don't know what's going on with him, but I can tell you a little off. Mm-hmm. And every day, bro, even the days where you get on my fucking nerves when you wake me up, mm-hmm. I'd be like, yo, my man's is always hype, bro. We be walking, people, I feel like I should turn the fucking camera around. We be walking to the gym. Mm-hmm. I be tight. Well, not so much lately, because now I'm kind of getting used to it, and your mentality is truly rubbing off on me, and I thank you for that. But especially when it was cold outside, you know, it wasn't. I gotta be honest, I can't lie. It was like 40s, like upper 40s, low 50s.
Well, here's the thing. I did 75 hard from January to March.
Oh, so you was treating it in the snow.
Bro, I was layered up.
Just to walk to the gym?
Just to walk to the gym, and I didn't live there at the time. I lived at my uncle's, it was like a half an hour walk. You know what I'm saying? So like, I did that, but even through the snow, those were the best moments of my day, because it was the one time where the world is silent and it's just me, and I get to think through things and have clarity in my life. And once I experienced that, I like still to this day, like when we walk to the gym and walk back, like it's still like that, those moments and that walk, that fresh air, it hits you different, and it like prepares you for the day.
You know, 100%. I remember when I don't know if you know this, but when my mentality started to change was when we were walking to the gym that day, and I was about to say how shitty the day was gonna be.
I looked at you like,
And before I finished it, it's crazy because I remember I was looking down at the ground, like some news might say something negative, and I looked down at the ground, and my spirit was like, well, you know, Carney about to flame you, boy. You better change your mentality. You better change your attitude right now. And I was like, today's about to be a stupendous day. Yeah. And then he was like, yeah, nigga, that's what I thought you was about to say. And that is so profound because, you know, that isn't just like a gimmick for you. That's not just like, and I'm saying this for the people who are gonna watch this. That isn't just a gimmick for you. That is who you are every day. No matter if you got good news on the phone, no matter what. When we get up in the morning, you are happy, you are smiling, you are cheerful. And even when I can see on your face that, yo, I don't really want to do this, you still push past that. And you literally are like a beacon of hope, a beacon of light. And it's done wonders for me. And I'm like, yo, like I be so inspired. Like now when we walk to the gym, I'm not so like, all right, fuck, we gotta walk. I be looking forward to the walks, and especially because a lot of times too, me and you have such great conversation.
Man.
We talk about everything and everything. Mm-hmm. From women to money to things we want to do with our lives, man. Like, it's so crazy because if people really understood, if people could really understand the amount of work that you put in, I think even the people who may dislike you, or the people who may not want to rock with your music, or the people who may not necessarily want to give you the time of day, would truly have a different perspective.
I think so too.
If people could just understand that, like, you are someone that people should want to follow. Because you're not doing it, and that's what I love about you. That's why you're so great, right? To me personally, because you're not doing it for the sake of being called great. This is who you are. So
when I was working for Movement Mortgage, which they changed my life and gave me a whole new perspective on things. Like that's when, like I think this mentality really like developed. They got me into reading self-development books, and like John Maxwell was like my father for a few years. Like I read so many of his books, and that was because of Movement. But I remember I reached out to the CEO, Casey Crawford, and I was just kind of feeling like lost a little bit. And so he flew me down there to Charlotte, to the headquarters, to meet with him one-on-one, CEO of a, multi-million, I don't know what it's worth, probably $100 million company. And, he's in He's the type of guy, like, he played in the NFL, but you're at a $100 million company, like corporate company, you're immediately thinking suit tie. I knew that wasn't, but gym shorts, t-shirt, fresh off a workout, you know what I'm saying? They have a gym in the headquarters. That's kind of where I get this mentality from. But anyways, so I went and met with him, and we were talking about leadership and whatever else, and he's like, Ryan, if you raise your hand, people will follow. And, you know, I kind of knew what it meant, but I didn't at the time, because I was struggling to, like, accept the responsibility to be a leader, because with leadership comes responsibility, a whole lot of it. And you know, they saw my work ethic. It wasn't that I wasn't working hard by any means, but I just felt like I should have been doing more. And when he said that to me again, like, it didn't resonate the way that it didn't resonate then the way that it does now. And I think that this, like, docuseries is like a stepping stone for me as a leader, because I failed as a leader several times. I'll be the first to say it. Like, I've felt disappointed in myself and felt like I let people down, people that I cared about as a leader. Not that I did anything malicious to anybody or anything like that, but it was just like, yo, dog, like, you have to be a better leader. And I've had many nights laying in bed staring at the ceiling thinking about that stuff. And now it's like, I think that I've finally gotten to the point where I'm ready to raise my hand and allow people to follow. And it's a weird feeling, because I knew I was capable of it all along, but I didn't want the responsibility. I just want to live my life and do me and be happy and whatever. And I've always talked about, like, if I ever get rich enough to the point where I can disappear, I will. You know, I think that's why I look up to, like, people like Kendrick and J. Cole a lot, because they live their lives how they want to live their lives. And, like, if I ever make it that far, that's how I want to live my life. I just want to be a normal person. I don't care about fame or anything like that. Like, I want to be rich. I don't get up at 4 a.m. and work until 12 because I don't. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, the fame don't mean nothing to me. I'm working for freedom. But back to the leadership, like, when he said that to me, it was just like one of them things where I knew it was gonna mean something to me more later in life, but at that moment I was like, I wasn't ready for it. And now I feel like I'm ready for it. You can't avoid obstacles. Shit's gonna happen. I don't know the quote, but it's like 92% of life is what happens to you, and 98% is, you know, how you react to it. And I don't know if those are the exact numbers, but regardless, like, that shit is real. And, like, I got this from Charlemagne's book. There's no losses in life. There's only lessons. And if you take a shitty situation and you let that eat you, guess where you're gonna go? But if you take that same situation and you say, okay, what am I supposed to learn from this? You get better. And, like, that's, I think, how I've been able to continue to grow at the pace that I have, is like, when a shitty situation happens to me, I say, okay, what can I get out of this? What can I learn from this? And sometimes I don't always learn my lesson the first time, unfortunately, but I'm a fighter. I'm willing to fight and not give up. And it's like, every single time some shit happens to me, I'm just like, all right, what could I have done better in this situation? What should I have done differently? You know, and I'll sit back and I'll look into the mirror and I'll look internally before I ever look externally. I'll say, okay, what could I have done? All right, now that I understand I fucked up here, or I should have done this here, then I can analyze externally. But if you're not willing to look yourself in the mirror at first, then you're not holding yourself accountable. And if you can't hold yourself accountable, then how can you hold anybody else accountable? You know what I'm saying? It's almost like hypocritical. I got tested. When I worked for Movement, like, the mortgage industry and community is predominantly white. They want you to shuck and jive. And, like, I did.
You mean as a black man?
Yes.
Okay.
And I did for a little bit. Not that I, like, lost me or lost my soul or sold my soul. But when I first got into it, I was so hungry for money and so hungry to succeed that I was like, I'll do whatever I need to do. Not that I did anything crazy, but like I felt like I was putting on a costume every day. Like I knew that this appearance fit the scene, but it didn't fit who I was. And at the height of my financial success as a mortgage officer was one of the lowest moments or times of my life, because I realized that I was wearing a costume. And it took me like 6 to 8 months probably to be like, I'm not doing this no more. When I went on my first interview for a movement before we had even worked there, I was asked to cover my tattoos. And then after, I was asked to, and not asked, but like, yo, like, shave your beard. So after that interview, and I think this was subconscious, but I haven't cut my hair since. And I grew out this big ass beard and I cut that because it was just too much for me. But I haven't grown or cut my hair since. And I didn't make the conscious decision like, yo, fuck you, I'm not gonna cut my hair now. But it just kind of happened. But in hindsight, it's like, I think that internally, that was like the subtleness of racism, whether he knew it or not. And he didn't, because it's one of my best friends and I know he would die for me today. But like that moment was like, why? I didn't understand it and I had to sit back and think about it. And it was like, what? Because I have dreadlocks, I can't be a fucking successful businessman? No, real shit. And it's like, now like every room that I walked into as a mortgage officer, I stuck out like a sore thumb. For one, I'm 6'3".
We don't blend in well.
Not at all. But then I got this hair, this aura, this like, I don't give a fuck attitude, to where it's like, everybody comes up to me and they're expecting something else. And then when I speak, they're like,
wow, he's intelligent also.
You know how many people I've had on the phone tell me that they think that I thought you were white? I'm like,
Been there.
You know, and just because I speak proper? And, you know, but I say all that to say this, like going through that and not cutting my hair and becoming that person is the reason that I think that I am the way that I am today, and that I don't need Gucci, I don't need Louis, I don't need fancy cars, I don't need all the extra shit. For what? I am who I am. Regardless, I got way more bread than a lot of these fucking niggas out here rocking $1,000, $10,000 chains. Like, for what? I have assets, you have liabilities.
What did your shirt say yesterday?
Something like Gucci, Louis, Fendi, and they're all crossed out and it's like deeds, LLCs, titles. That describes me to a T. Like,
it does. It really does.
Bro,
insert clip.
Like,
Carney's in 19.
Why do you keep saying balls?
Balls, man.
He said balls.
My balls.
Carney, give me a check.
Mic check.
Oh, he's padded, that's why.
Mic check.
Let's keep it at 20. Yeah, that 20 is good. These dynamic mics are solid.
She's dripping in balls, man.
All right, now you can bring
Hey, that bitch dripping. Dripping in balls.
Yeah, he's good. All right,
Balls. She's got balls, man. She's got balls in her face, not actual balls.
That's great.
All
right, this would be ball name.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. Blackface, turn the fuck up. Yeah. Hey.
Yeah.
You wanna hear my balls sing? Styles 100 in the building, but look. Woo. Hey, we dripped out that ball, man. Yeah. All my niggas get ball, man. Stack the paper so high, they be looking at it like, damn, that's tall, man. Woo. Oh, yes, nigga, we ain't got nothing but propane. These niggas keep claiming they here, but the men looking at like, man, these are broken. Ball, man. Hey, all my niggas get ball, man. Stack the paper so high, they be looking at it like, damn, that's tall, man. Woo. Hey, oh, yes, nigga, we ain't got nothing but propane. 2,
3 years ago.
A nigga died over there. It was like about 4 or 5 years ago.
About 500 years ago, my ancestors was brutally taken advantage of.
That's right. Pillage.
And you know what?
Pillage.
I'm not fucking happy about it.
It was a lot of rape.
And you shouldn't be either.
We didn't like that shit.
And you know, in 1865,
enough is enough.
They emancipated us. Allegedly.
500 years and we still black.
But guess what? We're here in 2022, and I can say as a free black man, I may not feel free every damn day, but I feel free right now, and that's all that matters. I got you here with me. I got my niggas. I got my
black
women.
ass.
And I got Trey.
Black blessed secret.
Hey, I said, ain't no last but the real dude. I come my old ways, got me feeling brand new. You must be real solid if I say I feel you. Fuck that fake shit, we do what the real do. I said, ain't no last but the real dude. I kill my old ways, got me feeling brand new. You must be real solid if I say I feel you. Fuck that fake shit, we do what the real do. We do what the real do. Spit it like the real flu. I can only speak for all the things I've been through. Never played that cap shit, running like you trap shit. Vacation been the only time when niggas pack shit. For real.
I would literally rock sweatpants to the Grammys if I ever went one. If I could. Obviously I can't. But like that's like how I don't care. Like this is me. And this is who I'm gonna be. And I finally feel like I'm to the point where it's like, y'all got me for who I am. Like it or love it.
I would say you either love me or you hate me. But that is so key, and I feel like that's why it's hard for me to understand why someone would hate you. You know, like
They don't know. Humble arrogance, almost.
I was trying to figure out how to say it, but that's literally it. Humble arrogance. Like I know what I'm capable of. A humble, intelligent black man. Mm-hmm. And like you said, when people were saying like, "Oh, I didn't know Jesse could do that," it's like, well, did you ever have a fucking conversation with him?
Right.
You know? Even better, did you want to know?
Mm-hmm.
And that is what's so crazy about my experience here is because doing these interviews, I got to talk to total strangers who don't know me at all, have never met me, have never had a conversation, didn't even know how to pronounce my name until we fucking met in person. Mm-hmm. And I got to ask them probing questions, make them open up to me, make them be honest with me and real with me. Whereas in other scenarios, they probably be like, the fuck is this guy?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But I think that goes to like the conversation we had earlier where like I've lived in all these different places and I've never met people like I've met in Olean. You know what I mean? And it might be something in the water here. I don't know what it is to be 100, but there's something about the people here where we all kind of carry that. And it even like Jesse's bougie, you know what I'm saying? He loves to dress up and do whatever, but
yeah, he's talking about his Travis Scott Nikes.
And he's not humble at times, but he is one of the most genuine, humble dudes I know. He would do anything for me, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I learned, I have had the luxury of having a lot of older influences in my life, which have helped me to learn through things before I had to go through them. And I think that also shaped me to be who I am and the perspective that I do have, and that humble type of arrogance, if you will, because, I mean, let's be honest, like, there's not a lot of people who get to do the things around here that I get to do, you know? I could very easily flaunt that in people's faces, but for what? What am I gaining out of that? I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be looked at as that guy, even though some people do look at me like that. Nobody that knows me, I don't think, maybe they do, don't care. But I don't think a lot of people look at me like that because I could. But, you know, it's like that's that negative energy that I don't want to be around because I don't like people who do that.
What would you say to people who don't like you?
Don't care. If you don't like me, let's just have a conversation. Let me understand why. And I bet you I can pick it apart. If you really knew me and my story, not to say that I'm unlikable. There's people that don't like me at all, and that's fine. I'm not gonna think about you. I don't care. But I don't know, if you don't like me, like, let's have a conversation, reach out, like, let's chop it up, it's cool. you know, I'm gonna be fine with it without you.
What was your black experience growing up here in Olean?
My black experience. So, I say this all the time. I didn't feel like I became black until I was 18. So a lot of like my childhood, the racism that I did experience, I have to look at in hindsight. Like I remember being called a nigger in kindergarten and knowing by the tone in their voice it was bad, but having no idea what it meant. And you know, there's countless moments of like subtle racism. I don't think that I experienced a lot of blatant racism growing up that at least I remember or recognized. But there was a lot of subtle instances where it was like, now sitting here at 30, looking at the world for what it is, I'm like, oh yeah, it was because I was black. You know what I mean? And Olean's a place where, you know, my family is pretty well known around here. And, you know, I was always with my family. I was a good athlete as a kid. So people just accepted me, at least from my perspective, for who I was. And I'm sure that I thought, you know, there were people who liked me who may not have due to the, you know, my race or the color of my skin. But, you know, a lot of the, like I said, the experiences that I had growing up were subtle. But then I have friends who I talk to who don't have the luxury of having the family I do. They don't have the luxury of being a well-known athlete around here. They don't have the luxury of having money. And they have a completely different outlook. Like one of my best friends, who I've lived with, Jermaine, like his last name has a stigma behind it. That's like, oh, you hear battle, and it's automatically boom, he's up to something. And Jermaine is literally one of the most genuine, kind-hearted people that I've ever met in my life. Like he literally raised his niece as a fucking, I don't know, 19, 20-year-old working at Domino's. I ain't never done no shit like that. No, real shit. But like people look at him because they don't know him. He wasn't this star athlete and everything else. He doesn't have this family that, you know.
And he's black with dreads.
And he's black with dreads. He walks around and he gets some side eyes and I see it, but I don't know his perspective. I do to an extent because I've lived elsewhere, but I don't know that perspective in Olean. Olean has showed me, for the most part, nothing but love. So growing up, it was like, I had a lot of questions. Like I remember vividly, like I was too white for the white kids, or too white for the black kids, and shit. Even like white kids, to be honest with you, would be like, yo, you're the whitest black guy I know. And I didn't like, to me, I'm like, I'm controlling what I can control. Like, what do you want from me? Like, do you want me to talk differently? Like, what am I supposed to do? And, you know, but I think that drove me to seek my blackness. And like, my biggest influences were athletes and, you know, rappers and whatever else, which is, you know, essentially stereotypical, but it was due to that. And like, from my situation, I don't know any of the black half of my family. Until I was 18, I didn't have a true black influence in my life. My class probably had, I don't know, 10 to 20 black people out of 160. So like, all I knew was sports. For my age, everybody who was good at sports or everybody who played sports was white. Other than like James Chapman, who was a year older than me, but he didn't come around until like 8th grade. Malik Fuentes was a couple years younger than me. Everybody my age who was like, I grew up with playing sports with, everybody was white. I was always the token black kid. I have always been the one walking in the room where, fortunately, I was accepted. Like my friends, you know what I'm saying? Like I was the black kid that got rides to AAU tournaments. I was the black kid that got picked up and they bought me Burger King after practice. Like that was me, because my mom was always traveling and my grandma was working. But I didn't understand it at the time, you know what I mean? And then growing up, once I met JR, once I met Jesse, and they started to really break things down to me, it was like, oh, that's why this happened. That's why I was getting that look. You know, I felt the energy walking into a room all the time as the token black kid, but I never understood it.
You know, one of the things Jesse said to me that really stuck out from this interview was he was like, you know, I had to tell Ryan, you know, they don't really like your black ass.
Nah, for real. And that's where, like, again, like, I was the token black kid that was always rolling around.
So do you feel like that was more of like you being tolerated more than you just being accepted?
At times. In hindsight, like, you can kind of tell, like, I feel like I have a pretty solid judgment of character. So in hindsight, like, I can kind of tell who was really being genuine about bringing me in and who was doing it because they felt like they had to, for sure.
That's powerful. What do you think, if you could say something to the people who you could remember just giving you the looks and the side eyes, what would you say to them now?
I want them to watch this docuseries and hear everybody's perspective.
Why?
Because it's powerful, and I think that, and I say white people, but it's not just white people, need to look themselves in the mirror and understand that maybe they were wrong. Maybe they were a product of a system that's been around for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And maybe, just maybe, they're wrong. Maybe they should try and look at things from my perspective. Maybe they should try and look at things from Jesse's perspective. Maybe they should try and look at things from Jason's perspective or JR's perspective. You know, especially because like people like Jesse and JR in particular, there's not a lot of people who know his story. Once JR knew he had to have this interview, I knew he was taking it seriously, for one, because he wanted to fucking cut his hair.
Yeah.
He wore a hat. But
I was just gonna say that, yo, my man's got a haircut.
That's beside the point. But we went out one night and we ended up back at his house, you know what I'm saying, drinking and doing what we do. And we got into such a deep conversation that he started telling me things that maybe he told me before, but I didn't even remember. And it's like, if you really understood where he came from and you still look at him like that, I know you're racist. I know you're racist. Because how can you not, and he'll never ask for sympathy, but how can you not look at that situation and be like, damn, I couldn't imagine going through that.
Listen, as a black man, I was like, damn.
You know what I'm saying? And so then you see that and you feel that, and it's like, okay, I get it now. But if you could still look at me or whoever and feel the way that you feel, I really got nothing to say to you.
One of the favorite interviews I think I've done so far was definitely JR's. And the reason being is because, one, the way we did it, like, I was so close to him. Like, you know, the camera was right here, but me and him were only like maybe 4 feet away from each other. I thought I went into a thinking that JR was gonna be like one of the hardest ones, because I could feel I can look at him and see the walls.
You like, when you get into a conversation like that with JR, you could feel the pain. You know what I mean? And people like don't understand the scars that man has. And he was the first black influence in my life. He was, to this day, still a father figure to me. Like, I'm older now, so it may not be as, you know, the same as it was when I was 18, but when I met him at 18, like, it was like, yo, this is different. And like, I remember we went to Buffalo and we were partying and doing whatever. And we walked to the store to get beer or whatever, and like and everybody else had went to sleep, and it was just me and him, and that was the first time that we had one of those conversations. And I'm a little kid, bro, and I'm just sitting here listening to this dude speak, and I'm like, oh my God, like, it was like I had these revelations of my entire life, 18 years of life, just start to hit me. And I don't even know if I spoke, you know. I just sat there and just tried to soak up as much as I could. And like, JR is literally one of the smartest people that I've ever met. Think what you think about him, but he is for the people that JR fucks with and cares about, like, that dude will ride or die for you. He's a very love or hate person, but I know the other side of JR that people don't get to see. And he's influenced so many people in this community, white, black, you name it, to be better and to look at the world from a different perspective and not just accept what you've been taught. And that was one of the biggest things. Like even like my family, like my mom and my grandmother, like they could feel me changing. And like at first it was, you know, it's uncomfortable because now I'm starting to ask aggressive questions, not towards them, but towards the world. And they haven't even thought about some of this stuff. So they're automatically in denial about some shit. And I'm the one out here doing research now because of what he's told me, you know? And not everything, you know, it can be proven or whatever, but it was like his influence is felt out way outside of just me. You know what I'm saying? As that father figure. But the thing about it is you knowing that you prejudge everybody you meet, I don't care who you are, you do. It's will you not give them the option to prove you wrong? Because there's a lot of people who they prejudge and that's it. Don't care. I could care less. There's a lot of people. Yeah, that's it. I already know. And it's like, I prejudge everybody I see, 100%, but I also give everybody the option to prove me wrong. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that aren't like that, and it's sad. And that's where I think a lot of racism comes from, is that prejudice to be like, oh, he's 6'3", black and with dreads, wearing a do-rag and a pit bull. This nigga up to no good. No, real shit. I remember vividly, there was like 3 times in one day where I decided to go on a walk in LA. And LA is like maybe the most diverse place in the country outside that in New York, right? I'm walking down the street. I don't even have my dog. I had my dog with me one time. I'm walking down the street, literally. I have a do-rag on. I have my hoodie up. It's broad day. I'm not walking at night, but I have my hoodie up because I always have my hood up. My teachers have been mad at me for that. My mother, everybody, I just like wearing my hood. I don't know what to tell you. I'm walking down the street. White person walking the same side of the street, whether they were fully white, Italian, whatever the case may be. Walks to the other side of the street. Then once we pass, walks back across the street.
Now, was this a time where you had cash or didn't?
One time I had cash, the other 2 times I didn't. And this was 3 times the same day. And that's why I vividly remember it so much. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, I'm 27, 8, 9, somewhere in there. And I'm just like laughing to myself, like, this is hilarious. Like, this is some of the most racist shit that I've ever seen in my life. Like, but it's like, I am who I am. I'm the one that wears sweatpants and Timbs and Jordans and a hoodie and a do-rag in any situation. I don't care. I'll pull up to a fancy bar and wear a do-rag and a hood up. I don't care. But because I do that, people look at me and they're like, I'm not so sure about this dude. Even though I don't know the black half of my family. I've been making 6 figures. I've been accused of talking white on numerous occasions. But, and that's where it's like, I don't care what your prejudice is. If you don't want to like me or give me an opportunity, I could really give a fuck. Yeah, and then let me show you how intelligent I am. You know, I think it's funny. Like it makes me giggle on the inside when like you expect one thing out of me and I give it to you, but then I give you something so much more powerful, and then you're like, God damn, I really didn't want to like this guy. But we have such short leashes that the moment you take a white guy and a black guy in the same exact situation, right? And dating the same chick or whatever, and you know, you finally beat that prejudgment as a black man, like, oh man, I can't believe this guy ain't so bad. But the moment you fuck up, gone.
Yeah, you don't get that chance.
That white guy fucks up and it's, oh man, I thought Jimmy was a really good guy.
Yeah, he just accidentally slipped and fell into the other guy.
Yeah, he didn't mean to do that. He just, you know, and it's like, oh, I knew he was a nigga.
I was gonna say, with Jordan, I knew he was a nigga.
Yeah, and like I've dated a chick who was afraid to tell her father about me because I was black, and her family because I was black. I don't give a fuck. You know, it's one of those things where, but it was like frustrating, but I didn't let it affect me. It was frustrating because like I really cared about her, and I wanted to dive into that portion of the relationship. And it was like, you know what? If they don't want to fuck with me, then fuck them. And you know, that's kind of the attitude that I've always taken. It's like, I am who I am. So, I mean, I've only had a few girlfriends in my life. They've all been white. I don't know, I just never was really a big relationship guy, I guess. And not even to say, like, I was really shy when I was a kid. Like, I didn't really break out of my shell and like start to get active with a variety of women until after high school. So it was, I mean, it was what it was. That like, I don't know. I don't know what the percentages are, but I believe it's over 95% of people here are white. And in my class, probably higher than that. So like, you really didn't have too many options. But like, once I left here and I moved to Houston, and then I moved to Pittsburgh, and then I moved to LA, you know, I got to see diversity. And, you know, I don't discriminate. I'm attracted to white women. I'm attracted to black women. I'm attracted to Hispanic women, Asian. Yeah, like, it don't matter to me. Like, I have an idea. Like, I value my blackness. And I think because of how I grew up, not understanding my blackness makes me want to raise a black child. Not to say that that's going to happen or I wouldn't be with a white woman or whatever the case may be, but my ideal future, I guess, if I am to end up a father, would be to raise a black son or a black daughter. And it's not me trying to be racist or anything like that, because if I had a child with a white woman, I would love that child no differently, you know? But I feel like, I don't know, I know how I grew up and I know what I missed out on, and now that I know what it means to be black, and I just like being the one counted out, you know? Like, I like being the underdog, and we as black men and women are constantly the underdog, regardless if we're more talented or not. And, you know, a lot of people hate that feeling, and there's times where you should hate it, but I love it. You know, when we won the state championship in basketball, we was the underdog, you know, and we proved everybody wrong. I've read a lot of books that, you know, say don't prove people wrong, prove yourself right. But, you know, at the same time, I don't, you know, what Tupac say, revenge is the sweetest joy. And I believe that. And like, and you can ask all my friends, like, I've always been the person, you told me I can't do something. Like, I literally want to do it, whether I actually want to do it or not. I'm going to attempt to do it just to fucking prove you wrong. And that's just who I am. And that doesn't have anything to do with, you know, wanting to raise, you know, a child, and a black child. But, you know, it's just one of those things where like, that's how I grew up. And I felt like my back was always against the wall, even though I had a very solid upbringing where I wasn't in danger or I wasn't, you know, in bad situations a lot of times, other than self-inflicted ones. That, you know, that's just what I want for my future.